look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother.
Ooh, so sexy, so sweet.
It's the OnlyFans episode.
Oh, yeah.
Or as Black Star put it, yo, yeah, yo, yeah, yo, yeah, yo, yeah. What up? Welcome back to another episode of InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We got the whole crew back on the mics.
Yes, sir. Little titty cup.
Oh shit.
Little titty cup. In case any of the hoes are interested.
Bros and boats and hoes. No. Yo, if this is your first time joining us, we are four brothers from the Miller neighborhood of Gary, Indiana, that come together to converse and convene and figure out this thing called life with one another. Above all else, no matter where the conversation goes, we always practice and encourage you to practice being vulnerable, forthright, and most of all, honest here on the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Fellas, another week has passed. Marco and Adam, not Marco and Aaron, did we have you last week? No, we had Marco last week, but Aaron, we didn't have you last week. And so in general, did anything happen to you in the time that you've been gone or in the week where you got to practice any of our principles?
You know what, Josh? Well, as a matter of fact, it did. So, yo, what a coincidence that you asked that.
Coincidence. It's quite the coinky thing.
It's not like we do this every week or something. Folks, we are getting this is live. Yo, folks, we are getting something completely unique today, okay?
Exclusive.
Yeah, right. Funk Flex come out. Funk Flex's face. Man. Yo, no, that's Sway in the morning. Yo, he's a hyena. All right, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I've never been a huge fan of like plays or musicals. Just never really. I've been going to them, attending them since I can remember. I'm talking about like grade school, and there's a couple that I really, really like, but like I just remember early on. Like all I can remember, my earliest memories of being disappointed were just my ass beginning to be so sore and like numb during the show. That's all I could focus on when I was like 7 years old. Like, why the fuck am I here? So
wait, so y'all had theater arts, the very art that I'm in? Got you? Okay. Yeah.
Oh no.
I know I'm fucking with Marcus.
Would you call? Yes. Would you? I guess you wouldn't call Nutcracker. Like the Nutcracker is not the same as like a Christmas Carol, where they're actually. Because like one is
no, because it's dance based. That's the
that's what those I love. So shout out to Josh and his profession. But I mean, I was just looking them up actually before we started. I was looking up the next one I'm gonna attend. But
no, the Nutcracker sucks and it's actually very racist. But please.
By the way, side note, a Christmas Carol is dope. I went to that in Chicago.
It's not me.
Like all growing up, it's amazing, man. I don't know if it's still the same people on it.
Probably not. Who was on the Goodman?
I think it was either that or Chicago. I think it was the Goodman. Yeah, Goodman.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well, Chicago Theater doesn't have its own company.
Yeah, it was the Goodman.
Okay.
It was just amazing. And it seemed like it had been consistent. Like the first time I remember going, like I said, I was like 6 or 7. And the last time I went, I was like in my 20s and it was like still just as good. So I do have some good memories. But in general, like my earliest memories are like my ass being sore and wondering like, why the fuck did my aunt take me here? You're like, oh, so this is my earliest forms of punishment. Cool. I'd rather be grounded. But within these past few weeks, I did go to see Hamilton. So, and my original, Nat, my girl, has been, eventually it got to the point where like, she stopped just planning things for both of us, just assuming. She'll like plan something tentatively and be like, okay, I want to see how Aaron feels about it first, which is like very sweet of her, like considering me instead of just like, I'm gonna make plans. Chances are I'm gonna rock with it anyway. But I was not too excited because I guess in some way I was stuck in my old ways. Like, nah, I don't really like. I know there's a lot of hype about Hamilton, but I don't really fuck with it. You know, like I'm a little like, man, I think I just, you know, you can't, you could take somebody out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of them. You know, like I just, they just ain't for me. Can I bring my gun? Can I bring my gun in? I mean, that was my first thought. But so I guess it was a bit of a vulnerable moment because I kind of opened up a little bit because my first thought was like stuck in my ways. Nah, I don't know. I don't know if it's for me. But I ended up going. It's pretty long, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
Does she say
It was yeah. That's the name of my next sex tape. It's a little long. But it was actually pretty good, man. I was thoroughly impressed, and I guess it reopened up a new world for me, you know.
Was it
being reminded to be open.
Was it do you know if it was an Atlanta cast or if it was a touring show?
It was a touring show, I believe.
Word, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamilton, I have like a mixed feelings with. I am also from the hood, but have an enjoyment of musicals. Sometimes, not all musicals. Some musicals are just corny.
I might have just gone to some that like I just might have had experiences of like I said, I had a couple that were dope, but maybe for the part I just caught bad performances.
In real life,
and I was young, I guess.
People who don't like musicals, I don't blame them because sometimes you're like, really, are we gonna sing this whole show? Like I get the intermittent song.
Yeah,
but, you know, we got to sing every conversation. This seems a little abusive.
You can't sing. Yeah, you can't sing an argument. Stop it.
I don't know that you can't sing an argument, but it's just the way it's done.
R. Kelly, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah.
But no, because there's some musicals that I have been like, yeah, this is just bad. But I do enjoy musicals, and it's funny because I enjoyed Hamilton. I never saw it live. I had it on bootleg at one point, and then mainly because with musicals, it's kind of like how I am about like manga and anime, where I'm like, with manga, I have a hard time reading a manga unless I can watch the anime first. So with musicals, I have a hard time listening to the soundtrack if I can't watch the show first.
Got you. I feel that.
And it's a thing of with Hamilton, I was like, okay, let me watch it so I can give it a chance. And I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it as a play and musical itself. But I also have my grievances with it just because I am the person that I am. And so,
I was gonna ask that, like, you had your notebook out?
only just because it's like artistically, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. Although there are some things with that, like, you know, I appreciate the fact that it's a show that's exclusively geared toward employing people of color and Black folks.
Yeah,
but it is also talking about, you know, racist ass slave owners through Black bodies in a Black art form, and then using parts of the play to justify it. Justify some parts of it being like, well, you know, Lawrence and Hamilton were actually very against slavery. I was like, but these niggas still had slaves, so they couldn't have been too far against them. So yeah, and it kind of does that thing where it's kind of a big load of propaganda in the grand scheme of it, but it's a well put together show, and Puerto Ricans had a lot to do with the cultivation of hip hop. So I'm not a person who subscribes to that thing of like, this is a Black art form. Blacks and Puerto Ricans put together, and granted, a lot of Puerto Ricans are Black. So I have all of those feelings toward it.
And when you said you watched it, did you watch it on Disney? Like
I ended up watching the Disney version. The Disney version. What's funny is I think the performance that I had on bootleg is a stronger show.
Okay, because that's one, because I went with several people who had watched it on Disney as well, and they were saying how like things definitely were different. And they were kind of pointing out like, okay, it was, so this part was better on the Disney and this part was better live. So
I feel like that's a disservice to the artist when people do that. I know comparison comes natural, and that with any live performance, you're gonna do that like organically, but you gotta let people do what they're gonna do. I agree. And appreciate it for what it is. And that is slightly even a hesitation of why I've had, besides how dumb expensive it usually is to go see musicals, because if I get really attached to a performance, then you got to be fucking magical for me to care about how you do it.
That's fair. That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's fair because you're gonna be paying a lot more attention and aware of a lot of nuances and shit.
Or I want to know that you put your stamp on it, because if I see anything that resembles what I'm familiar with, then I'm gonna question either the direction or coaching that you got or what have you. Like I saw this young girl do this young cast do Dream Girls on the South Side of Chicago once, and you could tell the little girl that she was like 19, 20, they casted as Effie. She had just studied what Jennifer Hudson did. She didn't try to make it her own.
Yeah, like study the person that Jennifer Hudson was playing.
Right. Jennifer Holliday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, Joe, just imagine, bro, how long it would take for a law to get passed if Josh was in charge. You're like, nah, bro, you got to change. No. Yo, you copy with it? Nah, bro. See, I see you jocking that county over there because you think they did that shit right. Nah, it's like, it's got to be all your own.
But no, so I feel you. But that's dope that you got to go see that.
Yeah, it was cool, man, and it definitely opened me up more to remembering that like I can enjoy this art form, you know, because like I said, there was only a couple that I was actually going year after year was willing to see more than once, so it was nice to add another one, you know.
Out of curiosity, do you remember the name of the guy that played Hamilton in the show you saw? Or you have a program?
I didn't have a program. No,
okay.
So I actually don't.
But
he was a Latin dude. So
he was a Latin dude. Okay. I only asked because before the pandemic and all of that, fun fact, a brother by the name of Julius Thomas III, who was a West Side alum.
Oh wow.
Had just been casted as Hamilton in the touring show.
Dope. Okay. Dope.
Growing up, you know, West Side Theater Guild first started, he was that guy. He was Joseph in the original Joseph cast at West Side. He was Jesus and Jesus Christ Superstar. He was that dude. He was like the main dude being cast and all kind of stuff back in the late 90s.
Nice. That's dope. Well, shout out to that guy, man. Shout out to that success.
I was wondering if he was still doing it, if he was there. I'm sure they have like 3-4 casts that do that tour.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't know too much about it. Outside of like just the hype of Hamilton, you know?
Right.
So I was going into it pretty new.
That's dope. I had a dope situation yesterday. I was on Good Morning America.
Hey.
Oh, that was yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm gonna find the online link and share it again. But yeah.
Was that Millennium Park?
No. So it was at 12 o'clock yesterday. We got played on there doing Deliver Me This Is My Exodus by Donald Lawrence, featuring Leandria Johnson. We recorded it in Chicago, but they played it for Good Morning America in New York. So national TV, and we were on display on the Jumbotron in Times Square.
I was about to say, oh, that's dope.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is, yeah.
So that was cool. And yeah.
Hard to be humble when you stunting on the Jumbotron.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's dope.
But yeah, I think that was the highlight of the week. Otherwise, I got 2 off days this week, and I was really just really grateful for that because my body's in shambles. Otherwise, yeah, we got shows coming up in Purdue this Tuesday, and just getting ready for these shows on October 23rd, or this show on October 23rd. So yeah, man, that's consumes my life.
Staying ready. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, for me, yeah, I forget I can never remember what happened in the week, so I got nothing.
Wednesday,
a bunch of good shit.
Right
just a bunch of good shit.
Yeah.
Oh well, today's topic. I'll speak from personal experience. I know I talk about dance a lot because it's my life. And may not be the most relatable thing for a lot of people, but I think as an art form and as a practice, dance kind of has a different approach to its training and growth and development that isn't necessarily the same for other art forms. And people can debate me on this by all means. I don't know of other art forms that require almost like a boot camp um practice or um are I guess all art forms are means of, you know, you are in an extremely vulnerable state to take something that you feel you've put your all into specifically for the public to criticize. And in that, the way that you kind of grow inside of, you know, having confidence in yourself is people say, you know, you gotta thicken that skin up because you're most likely going to hear a lot more negative than you hear positive. And so Aaron posed this question: do you think thick-skinned is a real thing? And I'll jump out because I'm starting. I do. I think by all means, you know, thick-skinned does not mean void of vulnerability. And I would even argue that you develop thick skin by being more vulnerable because it's a muscle that you train to go like, hey, I can be used to not being afraid to receive judgment or criticism or put my whole self out there or be sensitive about this thing. And because if I get used to hearing whatever those negative things are, whether they're constructive criticism or just criticism, then I can hear and sift through that by strengthening that muscle. And therefore, skin does get thicker because you can let it roll off. And everything doesn't have to become devastating to your ego or what have you, or feelings towards what you produce. So I personally do think I think being thick-skinned is a real thing, and I think being thick-skinned is useful if done with those kind of ideas in mind that, you know, everything is not to destroy you as a person. Just because somebody told you that like the piece of art that you created ain't great does not mean that you're not a great artist. It just means that thing that you made wasn't great. Here's what they didn't like. How do you care about those things? Do you care to improve on those? Or are you confident that maybe that person's opinion is just shit?
Or they just didn't like it personally. Like that was
Right.
just their personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think can y'all hear me at all?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. I think the main point like you made is like how do you value the person's opinion or judgment? Because some people you trust their taste and you trust their their reasoning a little more than others. And so I mean, obviously it would, for me, I just want to say like it depends on who it is. And if you can kind of judge intent, then that's another like thing with it, like because some people just want to be contrarian. And then so I guess what I'm saying is I guess you gotta like sift through seeing if the person like actually is trying to give you constructive criticism or they just like talking shit.
Yeah.
And even really trying to decipher that because sometimes people make it seem like they're giving you constructive criticism, but it's some bullshit from their own ego because they think their opinion matters. Like I get very sensitive. I get sensitive in that way about. I'm not if I go to see a Lettucey show, I'm not going to be like, yo, Lettucey, when you sang this, you know, this was a little off key. She can very well be like, fuck you. What are you talking about? Because music is not my shit. And like you said, Marcus, it depends on who you are. And even with dance stuff, there are people out there that are more, in whatever technique we're talking about, technically proficient than me. And so if they're like, if I give them something about their technique, they could very much be like, well, why would I listen to you? I am cleaner than you. They can have those feelings. Doesn't mean that what I said isn't true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me think of, so I'm in this this Facebook group. I sound like a 59-year-old person, but there's this Facebook group that I'm in. It's for Black photographers. I guess the Black part doesn't really matter in this instance, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, there was a question that somebody asked, and it was like, would you take advice from someone and you haven't seen their work? And I was like, I would actually, because I said I would listen to their advice.
Right.
I wouldn't just shut them down from, because, and I was like, you might, maybe you haven't seen their work, but maybe they're an expert. Like, just because you haven't seen their work, that doesn't mean, that they don't, maybe, because I'm trying to say a lot of things at once. So it's like, in this group, there's a lot of people that like to show their work, and to me it feels more like they're kind of just trying to show off versus trying to get constructive criticism, because that's kind of the point of it. It's kind of like, hey, can you tell me how I can improve this? Kind of like, I would say that's like 70% of like what the group is about. But you see a lot of people posting stuff that is obviously like excellent work, and it's like, dude, you're just trying to, you just want to show everybody how great you are. So it's like, so to answer the question, it's like, so to answer the question, I'm struggling. I could keep forgetting.
It's okay. It's all good, man.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you can. I would listen to someone even though I don't know what their work is, because they might say a thing or two that's like, well, I can apply this regardless of, they might not even be a photographer, but maybe they're a painter, and some of those concepts still apply. So yeah. Oh
shit, did we lose Marcus?
We did.
And then they were menaging.
Or keep an eye on the waiting room.
Yeah.
But I feel you on that, Adam. I think that's a slight. Well, let me ask you, in regards to the original question of do you think being thick-skinned is a real thing?
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me go to that, because I got way off. Okay, so I think it is. I definitely think it is. But my only thing is I'm on the fence on whether or not can it truly be created though. Like, are you just born with it, or like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I know there's some people who are just less sensitive, and they're just gonna be able to go out into the world and let everything just bounce off of them.
Right. And
you have others that absolutely that's not. They're gonna be offended or take stuff personally. And my question is, I wonder if you can develop thick skin over time. Is that like, or how thick can you develop it? Like,
I would argue that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would argue that you can. I think is no way to be a person who offers your creative currency or anything of yourself without getting your feelings hurt at some point.
Yeah.
And whether or not you choose to continue to do that is how you can develop said thick skin. Because you could get your feelings hurt and be like, well, fuck that. Never doing that shit again. Yeah. And in that regard, you did not thicken your skin up in that dimension. But it's probably going to happen in some other thing, because it's kind of unavoidable. At some point, some shit's going to hurt your feelings, whether that be a relationship, whether that be work, whether that be creative currency, what have you. And so I think some people are more proficient than others. I do think, like anything, some people are born with whatever advantage. But yeah,
I think it also depends on, your childhood, like experiences you had growing up that really hindered you or helped,
Mhm.
I do
I
think
agree.
those, like, I definitely can say personally, my childhood did not set me up for that aspect very well. Like I
Right.
remember even from early on feeling a sense of like, I guess, lack of self-worth or whatever. And that's bound to make you not have thick skin. That's bound to make you more
Mhm.
sensitive and feel to any little criticism, even when even when some part of me is like, I know they're not trying to hurt you, dog. They're not trying, they're just objectively speaking here. It's like my experience was no, they're trying to do such and such.
Mhm.
But I should say just quickly, the reason why that, like how that came about, how this question came about, I had the thought like, all right, is there a such thing as thick skin? And originally I was saying no. My original thought was like, I don't think there is, because I think there's always something you could find. It's just only a matter of time that could break somebody or like trigger them. I
Mhm.
personally think there's you just got to find the right thing. You can break somebody. Um, just over time, it might take a while. Now, one of the reasons why I thought of that is because who do you know who's going out every single day, challenging themselves, trying to stretch their comfort zone, like to its end, to its core? Like otherwise, how would you know? How else would you know unless somebody was going out, challenging themselves to their breaking point to expand it each day, like consciously saying, I'm going to do whatever is the most difficult, whatever that I'm afraid of, or what have you, to
So
really, really push themselves. No one probably that is doing that consciously to really see.
I don't know that anybody.
Let me
I mean,
take myself to this breaking point.
I'm sure there are exceptions. I don't know that anybody lives in that kind of extremism. I don't know that,
Yeah, and
like
like even
commonly
science.
speaking.
Yeah, I agree. I think like science is even saying like behavioral science over a matter of years is saying that like through thousands of studies that they found that pretty much every single decision that a human being makes is to avoid discomfort. So when I
Mhm.
think of that, I'm like, it's only a matter of time before you break somebody. Like, I mean, you could sit and observe people and watch how the decisions they make are to avoid discomfort. So
Mhm.
like I don't think that thick skin exists like ultimately, personally. I think it's just a matter of time, because it's easy to get into a comfort zone and do things that feel good to you and not do things that are uncomfortable. Or
But
even when you're doing things that are uncomfortable, you're staying in a certain zone of that. You're not going out of that.
I would argue that there's a caveat to that. Just like there's a caveat to what you said earlier about how your childhood can affect the degrees of your childhood, words. The circumstances of your childhood can definitely affect how you're initially hearing that information in the first place, in which I think in those kind of exceptions, that's when you meet that's when you meet those people, children, what have you, going, okay, sure, I have to push them, but maybe I push them while also affirming them. Or I push them and make sure, like it's an old quote by Bernice Johnson, a legend in the dance world. Uh, uh, Tell them what they do wrong, but make sure you tell them what they do right.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig that. I like that.
And it's
Every boss should hear that.
You say what?
I said every boss should hear that.
And that's a big thing, because when you she said that because she was directing a school, because it was a thing of, you're constantly, especially in the dance world, hearing what you need to improve on, but you don't always hear what you're doing well in the first place.
Yeah.
And so it can feel the constant criticism can feel like it's becoming that breaking point, because if you're only looking at what needs to be improved, it's hard to acknowledge what's there, what's present.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, just a quick comment on that is like, I do think I agree, which is I actually wish people would do that more. Like Adam said, more bosses would do that. But one little caveat in that caveat, I would say is like for me specifically, but I think it's just I would assume that it's in general. It's how I'm perceiving it, like how it almost was the point, like even if somebody was like, okay, you're such and such is good, for me I'm like, no, I've already told myself it's not good. I've already told myself like my comments mean more, so it didn't even matter if they were saying good or bad. it was like my caveat, my thoughts already, a perception of it was already that it's not good enough. I can do better. So I was already hindering myself.
Right.
You know,
in which in
ahead of
those
time,
cases, especially in those cases, which is highly unlikely, you would hope that someone eventually comes along with some degree of emotional intelligence to catch that you do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of them days just pose a question to you like, do you enjoy making situations more difficult for yourself?
I think some people do. Yeah. I think so.
But I mean, like difficult.
Well,
difficult
not consciously, but
difficult in a hindering way. Because the other point I was going to make is you were saying people, scientific studies show that people try to avoid discomfort.
That's just me adding that little scientific, like, you know, folks like scientific facts.
Sure.
To like back up. You know?
But I would argue that most people who really grow beyond a certain tier of success, quote unquote, or at least contentment in whatever their pursuits are, is because they realize comfort does not come without discomfort, because discomfort is almost unavoidable in regards to growth. If I want my muscles to get bigger, I have to go to the gym. And working out at the gym is going to make me sore. Soreness is uncomfortable, but it leads to me getting the result that I want. If I want more flexibility, I have to stretch. If I want to be better at math, I have to do more math. Like it's a thing of.
Tell me how that's a caveat though. What are you getting at?
Because you were saying that people try to avoid discomfort, but people who are actually pursuing growth know that discomfort is inevitable. So they can eventually be comfortable, but they have to be uncomfortable at some point.
I guess I just haven't seen those people.
You need better people in your life
who are I just don't. I just don't. I'm sure in some aspect of their life, you could find them doing something. What even people like, let's say, I guess it depends on what the idea of success is. Like a lot of people who are quote unquote successful are doing certain things that are comfortable to them in their life. They might be doing drugs, or they might be doing have different aspects of their lives where you can tell they're leaning on something. So they're not really pushing themselves. It might seem like they're excelling in something, but you might see other things that they're not excelling at, but you don't get to see that in the public eye, I guess.
No, absolutely.
Without a crutch, I want to I don't know that I've seen it. Yeah, I guess.
I guess even in that regard, though, I think that's
like really pushing what is really, really, really pushing somebody, you know, like
I think that's
could be subjective.
I think it's a layering thing where it's like, are people looking for all around discomfort for greater growth? No, I think people will put themselves in like, oh, this thing is uncomfortable, so I'm going to go every day. I need to smoke some weed because it helps me cope with that uncomfortable thing, because that uncomfortable thing is going to lead to the growth that I want. But being there, that's my release. That's the way that I can help to deal with it. Is to drink, smoke, fuck, what have you.
Yeah, or something like on a small thing, like when you're cleaning the
watch
house,
Netflix.
Typically put
Yeah.
Somebody eat like
eat.
Yeah, even like a smaller scale. When let's say somebody is cleaning, there's usually some like background noise, like it could be Netflix. The Office is what my girl likes to put on, or music,
right?
Or let's say when they're working out,
or podcast.
How often do you hear people
this podcast
working? hopefully, right? Hopefully. We want to be in your ear 7 days a week. Get it. How often do you hear folks at the gym working out with no music, with no background noise? Very rarely, because that would be uncomfortable for them.
I mean, that would be almost impossible too, because they got some top 40 radio playing.
I do too.
Psychotic.
Huh?
That would be psychotic.
It's like, because it's like to some degree, I think it's because you don't want to deal with what could be there, whatever thoughts, emotions, whatever.
What's that?
You said what?
Grunts. You don't want to hear the grunts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that too. But I'm just saying. I mean, that's the small scale, but it's something that's, whether you're the richest person in the world, considered successful in this or that field. When you work out, a lot of people, like, you can find something where they have that crutch, myself included. I'm just saying, even something small like not wanting to work out or do certain things quietly, to like, it almost helps it be more mindless, and like it helps focus your mind instead of being able to sit and see your mind racing, or these emotions or whatever that could have been there from years ago for something that wasn't addressed. I just don't see it. So that made me like, it kind of out of that was like, is there really such thing as thick skin, or have we just not found that right situation for somebody to break them? Because especially if you say like we could always learn and grow, like I guess it never ends then. So
No, it doesn't.
But you would have to be pushing yourself and willing to do it in incredibly uncomfortable states all the time. So I just don't think thick skin really exists.
Well, the thing is, thick skin is a little,
or I guess I should say the way we interpret it in society, like the wide average, like the shared idea. Of course, there can be different perspectives on it, but whatever might be like the shared acceptable society idea of it, I guess.
I could be wrong about this. I'm pretty sure thick skin is dependent upon criticism. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's ever like, oh, I'm not thick skinned enough to deal with some shit that I'm putting myself through.
I would add myself. I would add the self-criticism, and because like, let's say if somebody, the only time in my mind that I'm actually feeling a certain way about what somebody said is if I agree. I have to agree with it in some way. It has to resonate with something with me for me to even give a shit about somebody's outside perspective. I think it's always us.
I think
ultimately,
I don't know,
because you're the only one in your own mind. You're the only one in your own mind.
True.
No one's actually placing thoughts in there.
I think some people get convinced. If you don't care about your feelings or opinions and all that kind of stuff, and I said as someone who at one point didn't, then you take. If I know I love you, I care about you and your opinions and feelings, and I love you to a place where I do not find my own thoughts, feelings, perspectives equitable, then I'm going to put more weight into what you think, feel, and say. And so I have to
feelings
agree.
Become yours. Essentially,
they can be because I don't have the self-confidence or whatever to combat what you're saying. And because I trust you as someone who sees me outside of me, because I don't think shit of myself, or I don't think about myself whatsoever. If I'm this person, then I can't say that, I'm going to always agree. I must agree with what you think because I believe that. Maybe I just believe what you say because I care about what you say more than I care about what I think.
See, in that scenario, I would say, I guess, personally speaking, I would say, it's on me that I'm unconsciously accepting that as my own, or accepting that as the truth. That's still my responsibility, whether I did it consciously or unconsciously. Mm-hmm. That's how I would take that. It's like, well, it's I who allowed that to become my thoughts and my experience here, my understanding of the situation, and that is also my responsibility. So it kind of comes back to that,
Right. AJ, Marco, y'all ain't saying nothing. What I was going to say.
Are y'all about to let us just do this? I
mean, it's hard to.
I'm struggling out here, son.
Sorry.
Yeah, you good. I would say, as far as the comfort and discomfort, I'm someone that I definitely make I don't say all my decisions, but definitely most of them definitely on. I want to be. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, not even myself. So I have no issues with taking the easy way or the comfortable way. Like I'm not, at this age, I'm trying to make my life easy, not hard. So for me, yeah, I mean, I'm not, yeah, that's it. I'm not trying to better myself in that way. It's like, I feel like I've grown to where I want to be. And now, and at this point, it's just like, okay, well, I'm just kind of existing now until I don't anymore. So,
So
I feel that.
and I guess in that regard, because I think that there's beauty in that kind of comfort, but you don't feel like that's complacent to some degree.
it is. Yeah, it is. And I'm okay with that. Like there's things I want to get better at. Like say my art stuff, photography. Then that's their story. I will try to push myself and grow in that department. But as far as like maybe there's a personality thing or like that type of stuff, I'm not trying to improve that.
That's real.
It's
There's
just,
yeah.
Now if something comes up where it's like, okay, this is causing an issue maybe in my relationship or my job, then that's a different story. But as of now, though, I mean, from what I can see, no one has any issues with the way that I operate. I don't know.
Where do you exist?
And like
I ain't
I'm,
getting no complaints.
yeah, like I'm the type of person where so there's this Home Depot out in Chicago on 87th, I think. It's like right off of Dan Ryan.
I thought it was 8th. Is it 8th or 8th?
It's one of, I think it might be 8th. But so and this look, the only reason I'm bringing this up is it has to do with kind of like what I'm saying here, obviously. So we have a job site right next to that Home Depot, and a lot of times they need stuff, so I'll just go to Home Depot and grab it real quick. It got to a point where I stopped going, even though it's literally right next door. I will go 20 minutes to Oak Lawn. It's like on 95th, I think. I will go there to avoid dealing with the crowds and the chaos of that Home Depot location. So that's what I like. I'll go out of my way to be comfortable. Like I'm not. I have no issues with that. Even if it's real. Even if I waste 40 minutes doing it, like comfort, like yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I read this. It's like a meme that at this point is almost like a scripture to me at this point because I kind of try to live by it. But there's this meme that I saw years ago, and it was like, if I have to fake smile, I'm not coming. And it's like I live by that now. It's kind of like if I don't want to be there, I'm not going. It just is. I'm too old to be making decisions to make other people comfortable. I'm not doing that no more. Like
I respect that, bro.
I'm not doing that.
My man has run dry of FOMO. He has run dry. He ain't operating on that FOMO shit. Yeah. For sure. Son. I love that. I love that, bro. If you got a fake smile, I'm not in that bitch.
Yeah.
I mean that I'm out that bitch.
I am like that about 85% of the time. Only because there are some times where I need to talk to people who have money, and I got to fake smile. So like this, like hey,
I get that. I get that. Like for me, I'm just not in a position where like that ever happens. Like
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think like a major difference in like something like that is like you like with you going to that store, you wouldn't benefit in any way by going to the one that's like busy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I don't think that really applies to what I think like Aaron was saying. Because it's like I think this is an argument of like kind of like technology. Like I think it's our nature to do things easier. And like that's the nature of technology. Like
yeah.
We want the best, newest technology to make things easier. But I agree with Adam in the sense that it's almost like cutting the unnecessary things out of your life that won't serve you. So I think I agree with Adam in a way. But I think sometimes I do find myself doing things the hard way sometimes. But like many things, like nothing drastic, like for instance, like I'm trying to think of an example. Like I sometimes wash the dishes in the sink, even though we have a dishwasher. Like stuff like that is like almost like to break up the monotony almost.
Yeah.
And it's like
it allows you to like, yeah, I love that, dog. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I love that.
It's all good. even though like I probably didn't cut down, I wouldn't cut down my time that much using the dishwasher. Like to me, it's not a big difference. I just rather do it differently sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily trying to find the easier way, but it's just like sometimes I just need that.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely resonate with that for sure.
Trying to take the bus home.
Yo, you the future, baby. Dog, I'm the future. I'm taking a fucking bus to work, man. Come on. Yeah. Come on, you know. I gotta keep my rep for like bringing the M things in. At least every other episode. I gotta keep the rep going, bro. But hey, side note, I don't know if this is true. I still have forgotten to look it up. Actually, I guess you could do this, Marco. But speaking about in regards to dishwashing or hand cleaning, I've heard on several occasions people say that we tend to waste less water by doing loads of like everything in a dishwasher. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is true, then waste
dishwasher save water. You saying?
That's what I've heard on several occasions in different
that makes sense.
Different countries too.
I feel like if you use a dishwasher, you still gotta like rinse it afterwards. So, I mean, I guess it depends on like the quality of your dishwasher, but
I mean,
that and I think it also
seems like you gotta still rinse. I just think
rinse it afterwards or rinse it before.
Afterwards and before sometimes, depending on how bad it is.
I think that says a lot about how much water we waste when we're hand washing. Like maybe we could do it a different way. Like if you like some folks would just fill up a whole sink full of soapy water, and how much water are you wasting? Like, you know, if you're just not running it the whole time. Yeah,
make it real hot and leave it there, and then end up doing another one. Like pouring some fresh water.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it. I was saying some people, but I was really thinking like, yeah, that's how I did that shit growing up.
Well, for me,
sometimes still.
Well, like for me, like the way that the Johnson family, household, it was like you had there was no such thing as letting it sit there. Like, because what was going to happen is you were going to forget about it. It was going to sit there. So they're like, no, you can just use some elbow grease and get that dried up cheese off the plate. Like cheese when it dries up, man, it's tough to get off of ceramic and glass and stuff.
Even more than dishes. There's this restaurant out here called Cheesy's. It's like a specialized grilled cheese joint.
I was gonna ask you about that, like, because I don't even know if you remember this, but we went there like this had to be like at this point like 2 years ago. Yeah, it wasn't last year. So yeah, it was. I think we went out to that. Where did we go?
Did we go to Emporium?
I think so. It was
because the cheese is across the street from Emporium. That's what I figured.
And I wanted to ask you because I was wanting to take curious because I know she would like it. I couldn't remember what the place was called, but thank you, Cheesy's. Okay.
So it's like gourmet grilled cheeses, essentially.
Kind of, sort of, pretty much. It's not like they ain't got like special import cheese or nothing like that, but it's clearly drunk food. They're like, come get a grilled cheese with some chicken strips on it. But I bring it up because I remember the first time going, and I think the menu has gotten a little smarter since then. I took EJ. We went to this American Idol offshoot show for my homegirl Janelle. You remember Janelle that worked at Penguin?
Most definitely, yeah.
She was on some horrible singing show that we all that we knew wasn't gonna last long because the host of it was like Nelly, Gloria Stefan, and like two other people that I can't remember. And I was but all in all, we went to this place across the street, Cheesy's, and I remember realizing when you go to a place that has like 3 different cheeses on the same sandwich, this sandwich is on a time limit because as soon as it gets cold, this is just a brick.
Yeah. Cheese is serving as like plaster at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Or like acrylic paint or some shit.
Yeah.
And so I brought it up for that regard. I was like, yeah, cleaning it up is hard, but like if you eating the grilled cheese and it's got that much cheese on it, you gotta eat that shit kind of quickly.
Yeah. It's like cement when it dries up.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, I guess let me just add one little aspect to, well, I don't know if let me just add an additional aspect to this original topic, because I agree. I feel like it's typically seen as like an outside perspective, like you said, Josh, like the thick skin is in relation to outside criticism of some sort.
I don't know that it gets associated with self-criticism.
But I would say in regards to like someone's personal perspective, let's say if you just put people in a room with 4 white walls and like you gave them food every day, like they had food and water every day, they had a bathroom, but that's it. Otherwise, you were just there. Just there. Hold up. Please.
I'm sorry. I just gotta say this. Let me get this joke off.
Okay.
It's probably gonna fall.
Yo, Marcus has started some shit now. He created a fucking monster with this. Let me get this joke off shit.
Let the jokes flow.
You said when you like you in a room with 4 white, and I was like women, but like I didn't know.
I mean, I personally have a hell of a time. But
I was like, this is a dangerous situation. Apparently, hold on, but okay.
Yeah, you got four Karens in a room, all right, and one slong. Okay. Double XL. Oh, fuck it, I even buy a couple myself. All right, my mind is going now. All right, so like just on a personal aspect in regards to like not specifically trying to gain, I'm getting these snippets these weeks, boy. I'm getting these fucking snippets. It's my uncomfortable goals, right? Like I feel like for the most part, it gets spoken about in relation to like outward criticism or like putting myself in an uncomfortable situation to gain this level of like success outwardly. But you know, whether it's going to a store or becoming a better artist or this or that, I'm saying we could even take it to just putting people in, let's just say in a room, no pictures, nothing, just white walls. You feed them, you give them water every day. They can use the bathroom, but you can't go outside and walk or anything. Otherwise, you just stay in that room for like 3 weeks. I think that would break people. I think that would drive people crazy. And that tells me that it's not so much outward criticism. You realize the discomfort that you cause yourself just being there with no one else to blame. Finally, there's no one else to blame. You look in the fucking mirror and realize you're not even good company for yourself. And I guarantee, I put my money on, I put my blue magic. I guarantee it. I stand by it. Like Denzel. I guarantee it. I put my own money on it. It's gonna break some people, yo.
Now,
you realize how many things you're identified with that you didn't know.
I feel like this
has to be.
I feel like this has to be said. Did you just describe solitary confinement in jail?
Yeah.
As if it was like a metaphorical thing.
But at least no. In jail, you have other people. You have guards.
Not in
you can blame
solitary
other
confinement.
People.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
whatever.
why they're trying to make it illegal.
Solitary.
No, but look, what I'm saying is this. It shouldn't have to. That to me says there's something up with me. I'll be the one, like Kanye said, you know, we all subconscious. I'm just the first to admit it. Look, I'll be the one to fucking say it. I'm sorry, there's so many references coming now.
I think if you take anybody into like, I think
what does that say about
anybody
us?
in inhumane conditions? Like,
I don't think it's anything bad about it.
That's not inhumane.
We're social creatures.
It's completely inhumane to put someone in solitary.
Look, yes, it is.
In my mind, I'll say this. Maybe this is me. Maybe this is just me, the crazy guy. I'll be the crazy one of the podcast gladly. You know what I'm saying? If somebody says like, enjoy your night, right? It happens like, you know, enjoy your day, enjoy your night. Yeah, I shouldn't have to do anything to enjoy it. I should just be able to be joyful. I shouldn't have to do it. It should be a choice. You should be able to be joyful in a room by yourself with nothing to do. You're still getting fed. You're able to use the bathroom. You're eating and drinking healthy. But I mean, let's even add the aspect of you can go outside in nature. But that to me would be a little too easy because it's much easier to be a little more at ease and relaxed in nature just because of the
like
environment.
like to what I was saying, like what would one gain by doing that?
Try it.
I mean,
I mean, I'm not saying I understand what you mean by being able to be alone with yourself, but you're talking about sensory deprivation when you talk about being in a confined room with white walls. I mean, you added
all right,
going
purple
outside,
wall,
which is
lavender.
that's a different thing. But
I mean,
my point is that would be a crazy challenge for a lot of people. And like no outside harm is coming at you. You're getting no outside criticism, no outside pressure.
But you could
it's
do
all
those
you.
things
You realize
anywhere,
that's
though.
you.
You don't need
I know
that room.
my point is it's not happening. It's not happening. So people aren't even like, we're not even like that takes me back to the original question is why it even came up. Like people aren't, myself included, challenging
This is not a matter of
core, something simple. Oh, absolutely.
I disagree, but I don't think that's a matter of thick skin.
I'm talking about in regards to how the question even came up. Like, are we challenging ourselves? Are we like are we stretching our comfort zones? Are we, you know what I'm saying? Like to the max? Are we making it a point to do that?
What's the benefit though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because like I hear you and like what you described was prison, and I'm like, that's a punishment. Like they use those like the four walls and we're gonna feed you, but we're gonna keep you away from society. That's they consider that a punishment in almost every country on the planet. So, like for me, I'm a person that loves alone time, and I can enjoy a lot of it. But if someone stuck me in a room and said, here's some food, you don't have to worry about anything, but you have to stay in this room, I would be upset. Like, to say it lightly. I mean, like that wouldn't sound like a good time.
People couldn't do that in their own house during COVID.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. Don't
I'd say you were, but I'm saying it's a thing of sensory deprivation, people deprivation. I can't think of a better way to describe that, but like to remove contact and interaction is not a matter of being thick-skinned, because
the thick skin part came about it when I was saying like you can find a situation to break somebody. It's like it doesn't like eventually you'll have a trigger. You'll find something that they can't roll off. So it means thick skin doesn't ultimately exist, is what I'm saying. That's just kind of how that's.
I feel like you can break anybody if you give them inhumane conditions. I feel like humans are gonna break. Yeah.
And I guess this goes back to the thing about I
don't consider that to be
contingent. That's what I was looking for earlier. There we go. I'm pretty sure the concept of being thick-skinned is contingent upon criticism. And I don't know that.
Well, maybe.
I don't know that self-criticism is applicable in regards to that.
If you don't believe what the outside criticism is, it doesn't have as much an effect on you. If you don't take it in as the truth or as valuable or as, but if you don't even consider it, it doesn't. How does it have an effect on you?
I mean,
it's your thoughts in it. You know what I'm saying? It's your thoughts and emotions.
But you can look at it like, let's take everything kind of comes back to performing arts in too many regards. If I put on a show and it gets reviewed poorly, that can affect me because it can affect, how other people coming to the show. It can affect potential funders I had before they had a chance to come to, like, it can affect me, even though it's not even if I don't take it completely personally. it can have an effect.
Yes, I'm not saying it has an outward effect on your level of comfort. Oh, I might not make the money to pay rent or whatever, but I wouldn't consider that thick skin. I'm talking about stuff that you either take personally or don't, or like that affect you mentally and emotionally. Not like, oh, I can't pay rent or whatever, which might be a whole another thing. Not like the actual level of comfort. I'm talking about your experience. If you believed them, some part of you believed like it was, you might not feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different than
but
my bill's getting paid or whatever. You have your own thoughts about that, which are here or there, you know.
But then I go, okay, so how is it me self-criticizing? How can that turn into whether or not I can or can't be thick-skinned?
I said this already, man. You listening?
I am, and if it ain't computing, it ain't computing. So
I'm just playing, man.
I know,
but I mean, this is, I guess, my perspective. It to some, you can say whatever, but I have to believe it, or I have to in some way take it in as my own for it to affect me. Take it in as my own. That's my responsibility or not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. That, and then I get like, oh shit, some part of me has to resonate with it a little bit, in my opinion. You know,
because you care.
Yeah, and like if I really didn't care about
It's
what
like,
they said and it didn't resonate with me, it wouldn't matter.
But you know what's crazy? Like when we listen to criticism, is always a part of us that cares because we're listening. You know, if we didn't care at all, like we wouldn't even sit around and listen to any criticisms or critiques, or you know.
I guess maybe
go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
Yo, can you repeat that, bro?
Yeah, go ahead.
I said, I feel like the fact that we would listen to any criticism shows that we care in a way, like about outside sources.
Yeah, that's fair.
You feel?
Like, if you didn't, you would just like you would
I
just
think so.
go on and ignore it.
I think it's possible though to listen without, like, some things you take personally and some things you don't. Some things hit you and you realize, oh, that shit actually resonated with me because it triggered something and I'm feeling a certain way about it that maybe surprised you. Like you feel a certain way emotionally about it, and other things it doesn't.
I agree with that. And I think for me it was just a thing of I don't completely disagree with what you're saying there. I think I think of it as often I know myself, but I'm not above hearing people's perception because it may be something that I don't see.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
If that perception is more common than I realize, and that's something for me to listen to, doesn't necessarily mean I don't believe it because I may be blind to it.
Oh, I completely agree with that. Hell, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And then like if that ends up being some devastating information that I was oblivious to, then
yeah, I agree for sure. Maybe I wasn't. Let me make that clear. I do agree with that, and I don't condone. I'm not encouraging people to go to prison to do some shit to get in solitary confinement. By the way, I am not. I'm just making the simple statement that we should be able to do both. We should be able to be in quote unquote, air quotes, everybody, solitary confinement at home and be at ease, and also be able to go out in the world, which we all want to do, myself included, who's condoning this, who's condoning spending time alone, and be able. It shouldn't be one versus the other. It should be able to do both. Otherwise, I feel like to some degree you're unconsciously running from one or the other. But that's for perhaps another episode.
Yeah, that could even go into a conversation about like introversion versus extroversion, because some people are more fed by alone time versus being with
Yeah.
people and all that kind of stuff.
And like even people who are extreme introverts still need to be able to go out and do the opposite with some sense of ease without being completely devastated and broken.
I don't think so.
That's-
and I know we're
no.
wrapping up, but I don't think anyone needs to do anything. Like if you
You want
this
to
is
make
what you
money? I
like-
mean, like jobs, grocery shopping, things
Well,
like that.
I mean,
You want to
yeah,
be,
of course.
you want to be able to have to do those interactions with ease and not be miserable every time. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
You know?
that's a given. I thought you meant like people need to go out and
Socialize.
No,
go to a club or something like.
no.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's nice to have the option and not be one option, not to be absolutely miserable. I'm avoiding it like the plague versus the other. It's nice to be able to open your world to be able to be at some level of ease with both options, because there might come a time in life where you have to, or this is the option that's necessary. Like what is the whole saying? The right thing and the hard thing might be the same thing. What's necessary might be the difficult thing, and then you'll shy away from it, even though it's necessary in the moment. You'll shy away because you can't do that without being whatever suffering, I guess, or being miserable. That's all I'm saying.
That's real.
No.
Well, fellas, this has been a good one. By all means, people, if you think there was a subject we didn't touch on, or you have some thoughts or feelings on anything said here, you can always write us at informally.honest@gmail.com. You can also hit us on our Instagram, Informally Honest, Facebook, Informally Honest Podcast, and our Twitter, Informally_HP. Fellas, any last thoughts?
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I know this is like a whole nother conversation, but a part of me believes that like this whole pandemic, the way that the powers that be handled it, kind of wants us to just stay in all the time and not like operate in community like we probably should. I just want to put that out there. Like, it's kind of crazy how, like, you know, we could promote the vaccine and wearing a mask and stuff, but like, once they start telling you not to go, like, I understand like big gatherings, but like once they start telling you just to like flat out stay home, is like you taking people's rights away. And I see that in like micro type areas. And this may be like a conspiracy-esque.
Marco's corner.
conspiracy corner.
I just wanna put that out there. Like don't. I just hope people just don't feel like they have to give up their rights so willingly all the time, because with the like advancement of Amazon and all these services that's basically pushing people to not go out. I don't think that's very helpful. Even though I am a proponent of like being a person that can spend a lot of time, in solidarity. I just think
solitaire.
Solitaire.
Yeah, that's
Playing solitaire.
Is not what I meant to say. But yeah, that's it.
Oh, we will unpack that on another episode. AJ?
I mean,
Y'all
Yo.
haven't noticed that at all? Like,
to your
I-
point, Marco.
I mean, I noticed it more so, like not now, because I mean, people are having full-fledged music festivals. So I mean,
right.
Literally had one a couple weeks ago across the street.
yeah. But I definitely like about a year ago, they definitely were saying stay home, and
I think they just getting us more used to that type of deal, like where they can control us in that way.
Yo,
I guess
my
for me,
earlier
my
point. Oh, go ahead.
and I was gonna say, and I guess for me, my question to that would be kind of what I asked Aaron. Like, I hear you, but I also don't see the benefit in that either. Because what you want people out spending money, like,
because of our capitalistic society and how devastating it was to the general infrastructure of America for people to be in their houses. Yes, some services have grown with delivery and whatnot, but they need people out.
A lot of people, Uber Eats was going crazy, Amazon and all of them. So to my earlier point, during this time of folks staying in and like the lockdowns, motherfuckers was still having hard times being at home. When you got you got Netflix, you spending more time with your fam. You can order food, groceries, everything, and motherfuckers was still miserable.
I don't know that people were spending. I mean, some
shit is ridiculous.
It is spending more time with some family, but like some people weren't able to see their
parents. Don't pick it. Don't pick that. Just get the general idea, man.
I'm just saying, man.
Don't run on the guy. Don't fucking run on that. You know what I'm saying. You got everything. You got every comfort you could think of. More comfort than we've ever had. Motherfuckers was still miserable.
It's
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, yo. That's my final statement. That's my final fucking statement for this podcast. It's ridiculous.
The thoughts and views of Aaron Thomas don't completely reflect InforMILly.
I'm trying to push the culture. I'm doing it for the culture, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, my last statement was I don't have a problem with staying home. If they're gonna pay me to do that, then bring it on. I will stay at home gladly and work on stuff and watch Netflix. And make things.
Hey, I just put in a job for a fucking work at home position. I just put in the offer for work at home. I'm sick of fucking pushing my back. Take my back and my arms to the core, man. I'm trying to less labor as I get older.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't really got nothing of significance. Appreciate y'all. Tell your family and friends. I'm gonna say the same shit I say every goddamn week. Like, follow, share, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. We love y'all. We appreciate you. And in every conversation you have, every connection you make, and every person that you engage, please, we encourage you, we implore you, and we empower you to always be forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, motherfucking honest. Peace.
Peace out.
Let's stand in solidarity.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for listening and watching.
Of my brother, without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.